It's a blue piece. I made it like this, but because the wire of this wool is relatively hard, so it is not very convenient to wear and take off. So I'm going to do that later. Can you connect? This way, people can decide according to their own preferences. So let's get started. So we start with 3 braids. Now, insert the needle into the first needle. Make a long needle. These 2 stitches are the 2 we just started, the second and third braids. We are also here as a long needle. Then we continue in the first needle. Make another 9 long needles. Then we will have a total of 11 long needles. Then everyone put this. Your long needle is done. So now we have a total of 11 long needles. So that's our first line. Well, then we do a braid and turn it over. Then do a line of short needles. We have to make a total of 11 short needles. I recommend it for newbies. A little friend, do it at the end of the hand of the short needle in each row. A mark. Then hook to braids. After the braids are hooked, we turn over. After turning it over, we are in the first stitch. Make a long needle. After the long needle is done, we're going to the first row, first line. This is the second needle in the row of long needles. Here's the first shot. This is the second shot. Second needle, third needle. Make a long needle in the third needle. And then we go back to the first line. Pick the position of the long needle. Here we are also going to skip one. Skip a long needle. In this long needle, make one. Outer hook long needle. And we're back to the short needle. Skip a stitch in this shot. Make a long needle. Then it's still the same to this line. Skip a stitch, find this needle. Make one. Outer hook long needle. That's here because we're in the center. That's where the 6th stitch is. So we need a needle here. Then the short needle we have here. Go back to the line of the short needle. We won't dance. If you don't skip it, just go directly to the next injection. Make a long needle, and then we're at this point in the same needle. This needle continues into the needle. Make one. Outer hook needle, the next stitch. We still don't jump this stitch on the short needle, or continue to make a long needle. Let me turn it over for you to see. That is, we made one on this row of short needles. After doing a stitch, and then skipping a stitch. Do a stitch and then skip a stitch. Then we won't jump for the next 3 stitches. It's all about making a long needle. Let's go back to the front. After returning to the front, the next thing is the same. Skip the needle, skip the needle, skip the long needle. Make an outer hook long needle inside this long needle. Then the next thing is to skip a stitch in this stitch. Toe. Long needle. Skip the stitch and make an outer hook in this stitch. Long needle. You have to let your hands go a little bit. Don't pull too tight. So skipping one stitch here leads to the last stitch. In the last stitch, we're going to make 2 long stitches. Then this line is equivalent to adding there. Well, the 4-pin is the standing needle here. We add a stitch, then 2 stitches were added in the middle. We put another needle in the tail, so there are now 14 needles. Then we hook a braid and turn it over to make a row of short needles. Then the short needles in this row should be, there will be 15 stitches. After the short needle is over, we make 2 braids. Still with the third line. Well, the way to add needles is the same. Make a long needle in the first needle first. And here we are. The position of the long needles of the short needles in this row. Skip first. The needle is at the position of this needle. Make an outer hook long needle. So back to the short needles. Skip this stitch. Make a long needle on this one. And then in this shot, make 1. Tick. Do the long needles exist because they are all crossed and alternated, so it shouldn't be easy to make mistakes. Then skip a stitch. Make a long needle here. Do long needles in this place. Pick another needle. Make long needles. Here. So here we are again at the center, so we have to add needles again. Then here we are equivalent to knot dancing, directly in this needle. Do. Long needle, and then make an outer hook long needle. Don't jump or jump. Go directly to this needle to make a long needle. Then it's the same again. It's a crossover. Skip 1. Skip 1. Skip 1 here. Skip 1. This line is in the line of the short needle to the last stitch, that is to make 2 long needles. So now we have a total of 19 stitches. Make a row of short needles. When everyone does short needles in each line, just count to make sure you have the right needle, for stitches are added each time. Then we will add needles in this way. So now I have hooked a total of 27 stitches. In the process of adding needles, you have to keep going. Compare the piece with your own, so that you know yourself. How many needles do you need to add in total? Then I add it after 27 stitches. Suppose you add 4 stitches. 4 needles added 2. The width is already perfect for your size. Then we don't need to add any more. But what about my words? I added it after 27 stitches, feeling the width I want. Just a little bit. So if that's the case, that means your width is infinitely close. But what if it's still a little bit short? Then we can add another one here. But what about adding needles this time? Just add both sides. Only add this once in the middle. And like I did to uplift needles. This is used as the first needle, long needle. So I won't hook long needles for the first stitch here directly too. Do this directly. Outer hook long needle. Then the rest is the same skip. This is equivalent to skipping 2, but this upright needle is a long needle. Then we still add 2 stitches in the center. Where the last stitch is, we just make a long needle. Okay, so I would have a total of 29 needles now. keep going, we take a line of short stitches. After taking the short stitches in this row, now the width of my branches. It's the perfect width I want. Then we will continue without reduction. Hook. This upright needle is a long needle used as the first needle. Then I'm still one needle away from this needle. Then I'll make a long needle in the second needle. Then continue to cross like this. We also don't add needles to the center position, also a direct cross. That's it. Then at the end of the line we will one more stitch. So let's make a long needle for this one. And then the short line. It's like there are two long needles here. There are also two long needles on the head. It's actually a row of short needles. After taking this row of short needles, we two uplift pins. After turning over, because of our line no longer needed, a long needle is added to the short needle. We can do the crossover directly, that is, every time in the number of lines that are not added or decreased. Just observe. Do you need to make an extra long needle? Or can you just do the crossover? You have to observe for yourself. It should appear alternately. Then we still follow this way, no less. Then hook it all the way to the width of the strand you want. Then I'm doing 6 lines, no more or less. That is, after 3 rows of long needles and 3 rows of short needles. This piece has reached the height I want. Then let's continue to make another line of long and short needles. What about after taking the short stitches in this row? We need to pick a circle of short needles around the periphery. Let's hook a braid first. And here we are. Each row of short needles and each row of long needles are all hook a stitch. This is the last one we just had. A short needle. This is the second to last row of short stitches. It's marked here. Well, the purpose is afraid we'll miss this line of short needles because he's having a hard time. Find. So we're in this long needle in the third row. We're going to hook to short stitches. In the next short needle, there is still the same tick. Hook a short needle. We hook the long needle in the first line, 2 short needles. We are in the center of this place. Hook a short needle. This side is symmetrical. Hook the long needle in the first row of the first long needle, 2 short needles. This line of the short needle is the short needle. The long needle in the third row is 2 short needles. Then each subsequent line is a short needle. And finally, we follow the first stitch up here. Lead. After picking, everyone must check, is the number of stitches hooked on the left and right sides the same? And both pieces are. You have to make sure that you hook this circle. The number of short needles is the same. So now we're done with the 2 milk caps. Next we will learn how to connect them. First of all, you can be like me and the last stitch of the short stitch in the last row of the line, and the first stitch to mark the buckle. Then we flip the face. It's the inside facing this side towards itself, like this. And then what? We need wires. we are going to first stitch. It's the stitch at the head. Hook the line. After hooking the line out, we are going to connect it. The needle on the very head of this branch. This is the needle. We use recruitment. Hook it out. After hook it out, the needle that appears after this pull, just treat it as a needle. We can take this shot that comes after the pull. Put on a marked buckle. It's the short circle of needles we just hooked. We are going to find these top 2 stitches. We are going to pull in these 2 stitches. Promote it twice. After the promotion, we will turn over. After flipping the branching, we do it at this mark buckle position. 3 long needles. Then we have to find these 2 stitches on the head of this branch. It's the 2 stitches at the top of the short needle in this circle. And then twice. After 2 promotions, we'll lead again. Inverted branching. We do it where just 3 long needles are. 3 short needles. Then with this side, branching. After the promotion, we will promote again. Twice. Inverted branching. We're going to do it at the first short needle position. 2 long needles. What's next? We're going these 3. The long needle in the center of the place where the long needle is placed. Make an outer hook long needle. We're going to skip one of those short needles. Short needle. Then we go to the next short needle and do 3. Make 2 long needles. Then we have to recruit twice for this side. Just in the short needle line, we are leading once. In the long needle line, we lead twice. Then we're going to do the pull again and reverse it. And here, now we have 5. Long needle, so we're going to make 5 short needles. Bone extraction once. And then twice more. Flip to slice. 5 short needles. In the first short needle, tick 2. Long needle. So here we are. Just skip the first stitch of these 5 long needles. Make an outer hook long needle in the second long needle. Skip one in the short needle. Then make a long needle. Do it with us. The method of milk cover is actually the same. We just need to add needles on both sides. At the last one. In the short needle, we need to make 2 long needles. So here we have to connect twice. Then connect again. Flip the stick over here and we'll have 7 short needles. Connect once, connect twice more. Flip. Make 2 long needles at the position of the first needle. Make 1. Make an outer hook long needle. Make a long needle. Make an outer hook long needle. Make a long needle. Make an outer hook long needle. Make 2 long needles. Then everyone follow this method. Continue to take down. Then when we hook up, well, after your last promotion, the rest goes to this one in the center. When there are still 3 to 4 stitches left on this short needle, we won't continue to take down. Then the only thing to and here's the thing. You need to ensure your last line is a short needle. That's it. Now the 2 milk caps have been connected. So let's move on, the crocheting of the back. This is the needle in the head just now. Here we are. Hard pull. We started to hook our hair. The number of stitches from here is going to reach you. The center of the back. Insert the needle at the penultimate needle position. Start hooking a row of long needles. Then we're at the last stitch. To hook 2 long needles. After hooking 2 long needles, we will go with his. The top to short needles are hard pulled. And I'm going to quote you again. Flip over. We're going to take a row of short needles here. And after we do the needles, we turn it over. After turning over, I want to change here. Another way to stand up with a long needle. Let's put a needle in the first needle first and make 1. The short needle is in the middle of this needle. Needle insertion. Hook another short needle. Stand up like this. It will make your branches flatter. Then we will be the same. Skip and start doing crossovers. This braid on the first line here I will. Don't think of it as, well, a long needle. Then everyone is according to the original way is to make long needles cross like this. To the end of this line. In the last needle, we need to make 2 long needles. Connect twice. Connect again. Hook a line of short needles. Turn over after finishing. We're still standing as before. After hooking this stitch, we are away from this. The outer hook long needle is still 1 needle away, so we're doing it. Make a long needle on the short needle line. Then start crossing again. Then everyone will follow this way. Continue to take down. It's where the last stitch is. We all do. 2 long needles. We have been hooked to the position with this side. Once it's even, we can pause. Then this last line must also stop at. the short needle line, and here we are constantly connected. Here in the middle, I have the rest. Yeah, 7 stitches. 3 stitches on the left and then right. There's a needle in the center like this part on the left. Well, we want to put the row of long needles on the front. So on the left side, we need to start the needle first. Then connect to this chip. Connect it at the most. Hem this stitch in the tail. After clicking, we find the side one. The top 2 stitches. Then recruit. After twisting and pulling, we start hooking long needle. That's here. On this braid, we need to hook to long needles on the first stitch. And then we do exactly the same thing. We will add needles line by line. It's all there, the closest stitch. For the last stitch, we need 2 long stitches. Then we keep hooking up to the same position. After checking the left part, we can disconnect the line. It stops at the line of short needles. And then we go back to the right. Right here we are not. It wasn't disconnected in the first place, so we can keep ticking down. It's all the same here. That is, everyone can tick down according to the rules. Hook it to the place where we were going to add the needle. What about this needle? We can just hook a long needle. Then we are going to continue to tick down. What about this part? We're going to pick a row of long needles. There is actually no limit to the number of needles for this long needle. Everyone follows their own line. According to your own path, go pick it out. Just make sure you can still follow this rule. Just proceed. We also check it like this from time to time. Is it flat enough if you choose? Is whether he will huddle together. There should be some in the middle here. The number of needles selected should be hormone to ensure the pattern doesn't change. Then we come to the middle. This part, the part connected in the middle, then we have to follow the rules. Yes, are the 2 stitches connected here? And here we are. The second needle starts to make an outer hook long needle. Then we hook according to the pattern. Crossed long needles. So, after we've done this middle part, we're going to pick the long needle in this paragraph. Then the number of needles picked on both sides should be the same. After picking this paragraph, you can check it. It's you who spread it out and take a look. Is he even? Like this if it's okay. We can continue to tick down. Hook the position of the rear left piece. We follow the rules. Alternate hook stitch. After hooking the long needles in this row, we'll just keep going down the short needle. Hook a row. After hooking the short needle, let's continue to hook the long needle. Keep hooking us. Pick the long needle of this section and this position. We still hook long needles according to the rules. To this line, pick this line and this section to hook the long needle outside. Then the piece is complete, connected together. Then everyone follow this method. Continue to take down. Keep hooking until the length of the doctor you want is enough. Hook until the desired length and stop at the line of the short needle. We're almost done with our clothes. And I want to stress that again. That is, everyone is in the process of hooking. Be sure not to pull your hands too tightly, especially the outer hook long needle. Well, otherwise, this producer you ended up making, maybe it will roll together. Is that so? So let me tell you about this lace. Lace is actually very simple. I'll just start anywhere. Lace is like hooking 3 braids and skipping a stitch. Then just pull it out in the next needle. It's very simple. Cut 2 or 3 stitches, draw in the next stitch. Everyone according to this method. Then make a circle of lace, the last connected part. Okay, everyone can do it according to their own preferences. You can use straps or drawstrings. Is that all? The shoulder strap part is also very simple. We insert the needle where you want. Braid. Hook until the length you want. Go back again. Use the way of recruitment. Go back. That's it. Then the stress.